Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the show. I am so excited that you're here and I'm so excited to talk about today's topic. Like I am excited with every single episode. A little bit of a life update. I just spoke at the Vancouver Wellness Show over the weekend. I talked about the gut brain syncing connection. It was a 45-minute presentation with a pretty large audience. I was actually pleasantly surprised how many people showed up to my talk. Given that it's an expo, there's a lot of other presentations, a lot of things going on at the expo. It was amazing. A lot of people learned so much about why healing is so much more than just food and so much more than just nutrition. And even as a dietitian, like my title is a dietitian, so people assume that all I talk about is food. But if you've been a long-term follower of mine and you've been listening to my episodes, you probably know that I see healing as way beyond that. Nervous system, stress, how we think about ourselves, what we say to ourselves, our language, our relationships, our environment. I have a lot of episodes actually on these topics. If you want to check them out on my channel, then definitely do that. I truly believe good health goes beyond just the foods that we eat. And so that's why I'm currently in the process of becoming an EFT practitioner, which is going to take some time because it's quite intensive in terms of becoming an emotional freedom technique practitioner, like officially. But I really wanted to do this because I want to help more of you see that nervous system plays a huge role in healing, and it's about having those tools to support you beyond just what I can recommend in terms of nutrition. And so I'm really excited to support more of you in that aspect. And so I just want to say a thank you for those of you who came to the presentation, or now that you're a new client of mine or you're listening to this podcast because you first discovered who I am at the wellness show, then thank you for being here. I hope to provide more knowledge to support you in your healing journey. So that's what's been going on in my world in terms of speaking events. And we're hoping to do more presentations and have more of these speaking events with other practitioners. We have a couple meetings with physicians and coffee chats with other clinic founders just to see if there's a way to collaborate. There's always going to be something that I can't help with, right? So for example, even though I do EFT tapping with my clients, I'm not a therapist. So it's good to have referral sources. So if you're listening right now and you're getting support from me from a nutrition perspective, but you actually need a little bit more help in terms of mental health, then I have people in my circle where I can refer you to. So you're getting that collaborative care, integrative care. And that's really what's important for healing, because it's not just about one approach. It's having different tools in your pocket. Okay, I'm not going to ramble too much. I'm just sharing a little bit about what's going on. So without further ado, let's get into today's episode. A lot of people don't realize that the reason why they're stuck isn't because that they're not doing enough or that the diet changes aren't working. I think this is basically what I've been sharing at the beginning of the episode, is healing goes beyond just diet and just food. And I probably sound like a broken record for a lot of people who have been listening to my episodes back to back. Like I keep saying the same thing, but there's a reason for that, right? It's because I'm still seeing a lot of people really stuck with their healing journey. Even though they're on the best diet, they're taking the right supplements, they have the best protocol from one of their practitioners, but they're just not seeing those results. And so in today's episode, I actually want to talk about something a little bit different. And it's about your identity as someone who is dealing with chronic symptoms. What I've seen in the last 6 years of seeing all kinds of cases, complex skin cases, to complex gut issues, to food allergies and intolerances, to stubborn weight gain that isn't coming off despite going on Ozempic or restricting their diet to 1,000 calories a day. Something that I've been noticing is that a lot of people end up allowing their healing to be their identity, to be who they are as a person. They identify as someone who is always healing, who is always sick. And it's not that you're telling yourself or you're telling other people that I'm always sick. Maybe that is the case for you in your language, but it's in your subconscious. It's in this deep belief. You're in this world, or you're living to heal. There's a phase of healing that no one really prepares you for. And it's when you've been sick for so long, or you've been dealing with symptoms for so long, that when you actually start to notice improvement, you don't even know who you are without the symptoms. It's, wow, this is what it feels like to be a normal person. This is what it feels like to not have rashes on my skin. This is what it feels like to not look 6 months pregnant with the bloating. This is what it feels like to not be chronically fatigued, like whatever you're experiencing right now, because you've been conditioned and your body, mind, and nervous system has been revolving around your health for however long, months, years, decades, right? For some people. What happens is that healing becomes unfamiliar, even scary for a lot of people. Obviously, you want to heal. All you want to do is heal. That's why you're listening to this episode. That's why you're searching all the ways that you can heal. But it's unfamiliar for your body and for your subconscious because you've just been conditioned to not heal. This is why people often go back to the state of flaring and symptoms again, because their identity isn't able to catch up with their reality. So even in their reality, they're seeing improvements. Your skin is healing a little bit. You're noticing improvement in your sleep. You're noticing improvement in your digestion. You're noticing improvement in your sensitivities to food. But it's almost like you don't believe it. You don't believe it's happening. Your identity isn't able to catch up with what's actually happening. It's like with relationships, right? If someone's only known to be in toxic relationships, right? There's emotional abuse or even physical abuse or just a lot of chaos in their platonic or romantic relationships. That's what they're used to. When they finally meet someone safe, someone consistent, a relationship where there's no chaos, that's actually loving, supportive, and calm, their body actually doesn't relax. And why is that? It's because all these years, 5, 10, 20, 30 years, they've been used to toxic relationships, right? Their body has been in fight or flight for such a long period of time. They don't know what a healthy relationship even feels like. It's so unfamiliar to them. Even though it's happening in reality, they almost push it away, right? Or they sabotage it because they don't believe that it's real. And it's not because it's the wrong person. It's not because the relationship is wrong. All the signs that it's normal and it's stable, but because their body is still in fight or flight and the safety is unfamiliar for them. Similarly, when it comes to healing, when you're so used to having symptoms, you don't know what it feels like to not have symptoms. It's unfamiliar for you. And so even though you start to see healing in your reality, you start to maybe self-sabotage or you just don't feel like it's actually real. And what happens when you don't believe that things are actually working for you? Symptoms are going to creep up again, right? Because your identity hasn't caught up with what's actually happening. How exactly does this happen? Like, how do people have this block with healing? And if you really think about how healing looks like for people, when you're healing your body, you're always doing something. You're always trying to eat healthy, or you're taking some sort of supplement to help improve your symptoms. You're taking care of your body. You're doing the practices, the meditations, and things like that. Essentially, we're often looking for problems to fix. And that's what our brains do, right? Our brains are problem solvers. So if there's an issue, if there's a minor symptom, we're going to be looking for all the solutions to address that or to heal that. It gives you a purpose. It gives you a feeling that you're doing something. Okay, I'm doing something, so that means I should be healing. I'm doing this, so that means, X, Y, and Z. I should get this result. I should feel this way. My body should look like this, or I should lose this amount of weight. When you do, you succeed. When you do, you succeed. That is basically the society or the world that we live in today, right? The more that you do, the more that you're going to succeed. But what if the key to healing isn't about doing more? Isn't about everything outside of you, the external things, right? The changing the diets, the supplements. And it's focusing on your internal reality, on your internal beliefs, on your subconscious beliefs, what you actually think about yourself, and asking yourself, reflecting on, are you identifying as someone that is always healing, that is always sick? Do you actually believe that you can heal? Consciously, yeah. Of course, because there's so many reasons why you would heal. But maybe in your subconscious, you don't actually truly believe it. I actually had a podcast recording with Luke. He is a topical steroid withdrawal warrior. He has his own podcast called What is TSW? I'm actually going to link it here. If you guys want to learn more about this topic around identity and how Going through TSW, it changes you in a way when you actually start to heal, and this can take years for a lot of people. They don't know what it's like to heal. They're so used to being sick. Like being sick is a new norm for a lot of people with TSW and eczema. So check out that video as well. I remember we did talk a lot about beliefs and the mindset when it comes to healing. So the question is, okay, once you reflect on who you really are beyond healing your body and really start to identify, are there any limiting beliefs that's keeping you stuck? Do you identify as someone that is always healing, that is always fixing? Or can you just be and just know that the things that you're doing right now is going to heal you or improve your symptoms? The problem with staying in this identity for too long is that you might start to create these thoughts in your head where you feel like you can't actually live your life until you're no longer sick anymore. I have clients that say, okay, I'll start doing this after I heal. I'll go to that concert after my symptoms improve a little bit. I'll travel or plan for travel after I know for sure that I can heal. Or there's language like constantly saying, I can't do this until I feel a little bit better. I can't spend time with my friends because I need to feel 100% to spend time with my friends. Whatever it is that you're noticing that you're saying no to or saying I can't to. Now, of course, I understand if you're someone that is really at a state where you just cannot even leave the house and you need time for yourself, that's fair. However, I want you to start to notice how many times you're saying I can't or I'll start doing this when I heal more than needed. Or how often are you waiting for the perfect moment or perfect skin, which doesn't happen, before you actually live your life, right? This is why people stay stuck, because what's actually happening in the brain from a scientific perspective is that your brain is basically predicting that you're always going to be healing. You're always going to be fixing, because that's essentially what it is, right? You're going to wait until you can do things until after you heal. Basically predicting that something's going to go wrong. You don't know for sure if your body's going to be able to heal. You're assuming that things are going to go wrong. What happens when you assume? Your brain doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. So if you're imagining that things are not going to get better and you always have to prepare for the worst, then that's going to be the reality, right? You're always going to be waiting for the perfect moment. You're always going to be waiting for your symptoms to improve instead of living. Then your nervous system is going to be in a constant threat, right? It's always thinking about, okay, I need to prepare for the worst. I can't do this because of X, Y, and Z. So that leads into the cycle of, okay, I want to feel ready before I want to heal before I do these things, but people are actually doing it backwards. You actually have to go and be confident that you're going to heal anyway and do the thing and stop waiting. Waiting only attracts more waiting. Wishing only attracts more wishing. You have to stop living in fear that your body is against you or that your body is going to flare or be out of control and start to work on the shift in your identity. Going back to the example of the woman who is so used to being in a toxic relationship, and she's having a hard time keeping a good relationship, right? But it doesn't mean she has to keep looking for a new relationship that's stable. She doesn't need to try harder to stay in a healthy relationship. She actually needs to change the way that she sees herself. She's probably used to people not treating her very well. So she needs to actually be someone who feels safe in stability. She needs to be someone who is confident in herself, that she deserves a healthy partner. She's not the person that thrives in chaos. Like, she can be in a normal relationship that's grounded, that's loving, that's nurturing, that's supportive. But it all starts with herself. It doesn't start with the other person, right? It starts with herself. So for chronic symptoms, for eczema, for gut issues, for chronic fatigue, whatever it is, the shift isn't about, okay, what can I do more to heal? It's about becoming someone who feels safe, that they don't have to monitor and focus on their body every single second. You have to retrain your mind that healing isn't about always doing. It's living as if healing is already happening right now at this very moment. It's not stopping the things that you used to love doing to heal. It's doing the things that you still love doing and healing at the same time. Why can't we have both? And shifting that old identity of the sick person to a new identity where you're not sick. You're not a sick person. You're not someone that has eczema that you have to live with for the rest of your life. And that takes repetition. That takes rewiring the mind. That takes changing those neural pathways, which comes from your thoughts and beliefs. We always want to end off an episode with some actionable tips. Maybe this week, just do the damn thing. Just go to that dinner, even if your skin isn't 100%. Go have fun with your friends. I'm sure your best friends don't care if your skin is flaring, right? Do something, anything that has nothing to do with your healing. I don't know. Go for a painting class. Go for a walk. Have a coffee with a friend. Think about the hobbies you used to love doing and go do them. And don't think about your symptoms. Make plans without having that feeling in the back of your head. Oh, I need to cancel in case something bad happens, in case I don't feel good that day. Just make the decision with certainty that your plans are going to move forward and that you're not going to flare. You're just going to go and do it. When you assume, your brain thinks it's going to happen. It is science. So instead of assuming that things are going to go wrong or assuming that you're going to flare or notice symptoms, start to assume that it's not going to happen. Start to assume that you're going to have a great day today and not finding excuses of I can't, I'll wait. Language. Really important when it comes to your healing. You are allowed to live and heal at the same time. Okay? And we're going to leave you with that. I could ramble about this topic forever and ever, as you can tell, but I hope this was a light bulb moment for you to really think about what healing means to you and the identity shift that we talked about in this entire episode. If you liked this episode, please subscribe on the channel and leave us a comment below. If you're listening to this episode on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please leave us a 5-star review and a comment. That would help us so much in growing the podcast. Make sure you share this video to someone that might benefit from it and check out my other videos on the channel about nutrition, skin, gut, mindset, nervous system. And that's it. We will see you in the next video.